Welcome to the Fine Print, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Caleb Teskey, and today we got a doozy for you. We got Devon Deyhle from Tall Truck in Danville. Devon, thank you so much for being here, man.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, now Devon has driven down to the library in his truck for us because he's got a better connection, and I really appreciate that, man. And I'm super excited here. This is my first interview with a Northeast Kingdom guy, and I was born and raised up there in Lyndonville. And it was nice to see somebody from the neck, and I'm super glad that we got introduced, man. And I'd like to thank you for your hospitality. Devon invited me out to his place, showed me around, gave me some samples, and boy, that's a lovely spot you got out there, man.
Thanks, man. It's been a lot of labor of love I've been putting in out there.
So would you mind, I'd like to start every episode with a 5-minute life story. You just tell everyone a little bit about your background and where you're from and anything you think might be relevant.
Well, I guess I would start with, I'm from Rhode Island, moved to Vermont when I was 16. I went to school in Danville for about 6 weeks before I ended up getting kicked out of school. And I ended up getting my GED and I started working in the trades. I've been in the trades for 35 years now, doing masonry work. I did a 4-year apprenticeship as a mason and have built myself a small masonry business in the area. And I've been doing it now for 35 years and still really enjoy doing masonry work. Back in 2008, the economy took a major dive. And I went from having all kinds of work, all kinds of residential construction to nothing. And I didn't know how the hell I was going to keep my house, how the hell I was going to keep my family together. So I took a small section of my basement. I closed it off. I went and bought 2 used lights, and started growing cannabis back in 2008. And it was a very nerve-wracking beginning, because back in those times, the feel and the danger of growing was quite a bit different than it is now. So anyhow, over the course of since 2008, that's been part of my supplemental income as far as my masonry work and learning how to grow, and then realizing that I needed to grow more, and then realizing I needed to expand and needed to expand some more. So it's been an ongoing process now for about 14 years. I've been working at it and figuring it out, and still have a lot to learn.
Now, you didn't mention this when I came to your house, but you just said this was sort of like a survival plan here when the housing market collapsed.
Yes, that's exactly right. It was a survival plan. I had a brand new baby, and he was only about 1 year old when the economy tanked at that time. And yeah, it was right at the fall, and the winter's usually my slow time anyways, but it was a dead time. So yeah, it was a survival instinct kicking in and keeping the family in the house together.
Wow. Can you real quick just tell us what type of licenses that you are seeking?
I am at the moment only seeking a 1,000 square foot indoor license. I'm just sticking with the tier 1. Yep, I'm just sticking with the tier 1 at this point, with a lot of uncertainties that, at least for me, uncertainties of the future of what's going to happen in the market and in the economy. I am just going to keep going the way that I'm going, keep it small. And I actually won't even fill up. I don't have enough space to fill the complete 1,000 square feet, but I'm not going to expand yet. I'm going to give it a year or so and see how the first initial market plays out, and then make some more decisions then. So
you say you're not going to expand yet. If you do expand, what other licenses are you thinking about possibly going after?
I guess I would be considering a larger indoor cultivation square footage footprint is what I might consider. I had considered doing a retail location as well, but at this point, I think I'm pretty content with just being a cultivator. Actually, I'm very content with just being a cultivator, as well as a lot of the other community and social building stuff that I do as well. I don't know if I would have time for any other licenses apart from just cultivating.
Gonna say you're a pretty busy guy down there.
Yeah,
Have you ever thought about growing outdoor? You got a beautiful property up there.
Oh, I've got a wonderful spot that I could grow some outdoor, and I have thought about that, how it would be a good way to supplement other non-flower offerings that Tall Truck is looking to do. But I still have found that with what I'm doing now, I'm just so busy and so tied up that I am going to contract that out. So there are other people that have approached me about potentially using their outdoor products for Tall Trucks edibles, Tall Trucks oils, Tall Trucks concentrates, that type of thing. So that's what I'm going to do.
Cool. What's your application status right now? Do you know?
You know something? I've got, yes, I talked with a lawyer. He sent me a message Thursday, I think it was, saying that he needs my banking information, my insurance information, and I think that was it. And they're going to file my application. So I'm hoping to have my application filed by the middle end of this coming week.
Now, who do you use for legal counsel?
Oh, I use Andrew Subin and Tim Fair over at Vermont Cannabis Solutions. Those guys, I've been with them since 2018, and they've been a really good resource, and they've become good friends.
Yeah. I know everybody's had really good things to say about him. I just had Tim on, and it was a great chat with him. He seems like a super knowledgeable dude, and he's funny, he's personable, you know.
Yeah, they're really good resources, and I've learned a lot from those guys, and I trust those guys, and they are who I go to for guidance.
Now, I was going to get to this later, but you mentioned this right up. So let's talk about the banking piece, man. Do you have a cannabis account with the bank?
No, I do not. What I am at presently, I sent them an email about a week or so ago. I'm waiting to hear back I'm assuming it's their giving me the intent to have an account with them for a cannabis account. From what I understand, and I'm not sure how accurate this is, from what I understand is that they are not going to issue me an account until I have a license. And I cannot obtain my license until I have proof that they will issue me an account, if that is the case. That's what I understand, and I may be erroneous in this, but
That's it.
So it's kind of you know, not the easiest situation to wade through, but we're going to wade right through it, no problem.
Yeah, that's a strange little catch-22 if that is in fact accurate. Who are you thinking of going with, VSECU or any?
That's correct. VSECU is the ones who I've sent an email out to, and I'm doing all of this based on a template that I received from Vermont Cannabis Solutions that gives me a list of everything that they need in order for me to submit my application. So it's a punch list. They're very straightforward. So they've made it as manageable. And in this template are links to the different VSECU, for example, the state of Vermont. Any links that you need, they've included them in there. So they've made it as straightforward and as doable for someone who got kicked out of high school in 10th grade to tackle.
I got kicked out in 11th grade, so.
Right on.
So did they handle that for you? You send them information and they take care of the paperwork for you?
That's correct. They've given me a portal that is my specific portal, and I've just been cutting and pasting from this template and then filling out the relevant information from that I need to submit to them, and then they will organize it all in a format that the state will accept.
And now, you said you did the PreQual application when we met. It was March 22nd. You said you did the PreQual and that they weren't even ready to accept the $500 payment. Is that right?
At that time, when I did it, yes, they were not ready to accept the $500 payment. And I've since been told not to follow through with the PreQual. Listen to this, literally 2 or 3 minutes after leaving the Burlington post office and paying $50 to get my fingerprinting taken care of for this PreQual, I got a text saying that don't waste your time with that, following through with that pre-qualification, because you're going to have to do it again with your regular application. So literally 2 or 3 minutes after handing this person $50 friggin' dollars, I found out that I didn't need to do that. So it was kind of disappointing, and I've already wasted that $50, but I understand that I will have to do that again.
Which is a I mean, I don't, $50 ain't nothing but a real drop in the bucket compared to some of these other. I mean, they said they were outsourcing the background checks, I believe, and that was going to cost $450 or $500 a piece for each
Well,
person,
that
each member, principal of your company.
yeah, I just saw that $450 amount last week, or this week, I guess it's Saturday. Yeah, during this week, I just saw that $450 amount that we're going to have to shell out for that as well. So, you know, I already shelled out 50, so it's going to be a $500 tab for me to get my background check because of what I have just wasted.
Well,
Oh well.
And when did you put your application in? Do you remember? Ballpark?
For the PreQual?
Yeah.
I don't know. It must have been, it was sometime in the middle, beginning of April. I'm not exactly sure of the date. I would have to go back and check my emails.
Well, it's the ballpark's fine. And I also wanted to talk to you about insurance because that's something I really don't know a lot about. I don't know who's offering insurance in Vermont. And I was wondering if you have a guy or if you know anybody or anything about that situation.
I have a fair bit of information on that off the top
Great.
of my head because I spent some time talking with Louis Ogilvy. I believe that's how you pronounce his last name. I met him at one of the VCS events in Burlington, one of their first Wednesday of the month meetings. And he's one of two insurance agents in the state that I guess, or at least that I know of, that are dealing with this cannabis insurance detail that we have to go through. Now, that being said, because I'm keeping it tier 1, because I'm doing it in my own household, I have to be concerned about my homeowner's insurance, obviously, because my homeowner's insurance comes from a company out of Maine. They don't know that I'm growing what I'm doing in my basement. So that might cause them when they find out to drop me. So one of the things that Louis has mentioned to me is that we may have to get a new homeowner's policy for me as well from a company that will cover a house that has an activity like that going on. That being said, he did find me a company that will cover me, my cultivation, my tier level. It's actually not that bad for a premium. And I was able to receive a letter of intent from them saying that they intend to give me this insurance when it becomes necessary. So I am able to move forward with my license application with this letter of intent without having to purchase any insurance. That being said, because who knows, maybe I might get denied, and that if I had to put money down on an insurance that I don't need because they're not going to allow me, and I won't know whether that happens in a month or so. You know what I'm getting at? So the letter of intent is what is needed for the insurance for someone like myself in the situation that I'm in.
So you need this letter of intent to get your license, and then you need like the license to get the bank account, or
Well, it's both kind of a similar thing. Yes, because I mean, the bank doesn't want to waste. I'm assuming the bank doesn't want to waste its time going through all the paperwork to open up an account for Devon Deyhle and for a cannabis account and then finding out in a month that my application was denied. You know, so I guess that's kind of my what I'm supposing is the reason why this is transpiring this way. But
that makes sense.
I don't know for sure. It's just my own logic. I haven't asked anybody. I'm just thinking.
I also don't know for sure, but it's good to hear your take on it. I mean, I think that's a reasonable take. I mean, I can't tell you if it's true or not, but it certainly sounds.
Me neither. It seems reasonable to me, so that's why that's my assumption. But
now, what are we talking here? I know the board originally was saying, oh, you need to have X amount of insurance, like $1 million or something of liability. And you got to have this much in the escrow. And then recently it seems like they changed that language to you need to have a commercially viable or commercially reasonable amount of insurance, which seems kind of vague. Like, what are you looking at for insurance costs? Do you know? Like monthly premiums?
I can tell you what my yearly premium was for my 1,000 square foot tier 1 license application in my own home was roughly $1,200 to $1,300 a year.
Oh, that's not bad.
that's very manageable. I feel. I'll tell you, I haven't read the policy. I just talked to him on the phone and just got this number on the phone. He emailed me the policy. I haven't had a chance to look at it. I'm so freaking busy. I haven't had a chance to look at it and see what it covers. Like, is it $300,000 property damage? Is it blah blah blah? How much is covered? I don't know what is covered by that and the amounts that are covered, but that's roughly what it is: $1,200 to $1,300 for my particular situation, which I thought was very manageable for that.
Now, I just spoke with a woman, Anna McDuff from Mountain Girl Cannabis. She said her husband is involved in selling insurance. Is that him? I'm not sure.
I don't know. That's a good question. I think Louis is from more of the northern part of the state, and I think Mountain
yeah,
Girl,
they're down
I think
south.
they're from the southern part of the state. So
all right.
I'm not sure.
All right. I wanted to ask you about some of the other overhead costs, because this was one thing I really wanted people to grasp was sort of, I don't know. I felt like there was a lot of people who thought this was going to be cheap and easy, and they were going to walk ass backwards into the retail market here with no problem. And after you showed me your basement, I've seen a few small home grows, here and there, a couple of outdoor grows, but you showed me your basement, and I was looking around at all your gear. I'm like, this is a significant investment here. I think you had to have extra electrical installed down there. Yeah. What do we look?
Yes.
How much would you say your basement is worth in gear?
Without anything growing in there, with just in gear, there's probably $40,000-$50,000 in there, and it's not even. There's only probably down there. I think I measured it out the other day so I could submit it for my plan, and there was like 400, 500 square feet down there. And there's a whole shit ton of air conditioning systems, lighting, dehumidification, humidification. So there's a whole bunch of stuff going on down there. And to be honest with you, that is just the beginning. That doesn't include the day-to-day costs, as well as harvesting and processing and packaging is another expense. There's all kinds of expenses that go along with this that are unseen and unthought about until you encounter them on a scale that's not just a little closet or tent operation.
Right. So I asked you about your electric bill when I was up there, and I believe you said it was somewhere in the neighborhood of $5,000 a month.
Yep, and that's just for a little thing like I got going myself, just my little rig. But also the labor costs are very much more than people are probably anticipating. Many folks, I believe, think that they can care for and do a lot of work themselves, and they certainly can when they're on a smaller scale. But once you scale up, it's a lot of manpower that is needed, hours that are needed, and if you want to keep the quality at a certain level, it takes a lot of manpower.
How many employees do you have currently?
At the moment, I've got 5.
And a couple of them are my friends. So,
Yes, they are. A couple of them are your good friends. And also this past week, which is another hit that's happened to me this past week, I've only had one worker because everybody's been out with freaking COVID.
Wow.
So this past week, production has gone, as far as in the trimming packaging department, has gone way down because everybody's got COVID. So I don't have anything to package and trim the package to sell this week, which doesn't help either. So that's just one little wrinkle that I hadn't even anticipated yet. But boom, my 5 people are gone.
Now, I don't want to talk any of my friends out of a job here, but I mean, I know a lot of bigger operations, they use those tumblers sort of to trim. And you guys are doing everything by hand. Is that a conscious decision you've made, or do you just like doing it that way, or what?
Well, it is a conscious decision I made about a year and a half, 2 years ago. I have a tumbler as well. We had used that for years, and it does a wonderful job, but it doesn't leave you the handcrafted look that having a careful job done with scissors and hands can do. So
you were using a tumbler?
I had been using a tumbler a while back. Yep, a few years ago. And that was a conscious decision I made. And I'll tell you, it's added a lot to my cost, to my overhead, as you can imagine. A lot. But the product that goes out in the packages is that much prettier and that much more presentable and that much more of what I want.
Interesting. And I just wanted to say, I heard Ashley was working from home after she had the baby. Had her trimming up at home. That was a nice gesture of you, I thought.
Well, I tried to give her as much as possible, but it was difficult for her with the baby. I don't think she was really able to focus that much time on it. So I'm just waiting for her to get back. You know, as soon as she gets off of her pregnancy, if she wants to be, you know, I was thinking about it this morning, that when she's ready to come back, if she wants to bring her child, there's room for her child to be in the extra bedroom. She can care for her as she needs to, and she doesn't have to waste any money on daycare. That's what I would like her to, and, you know, just she can work as she can work and get done what she can get done. But we're very flexible.
Well, that is incredibly thoughtful gesture of you, man. Also, as soon as that baby hits 2, you could put some scissors in his hand and get a trimming. All right, let's keep it moving here. See, this is interesting for me because I've sort of been unknowingly tracking your progress over a number of years without having met you. I've run into your flower from a number of my friends around the Northeast Kingdom. And, you know, I probably started maybe 5 years ago. I don't know. I started seeing, that was the first bag I ever saw with a company logo on it in Vermont. And I was like, wow, what's this? Like, and, you know, I got to say at the beginning, I was like, you know, it's a good price. It's decent, but like, I always thought it would be better. You know, it's like in its own package, it's got a label, but recently, man, you've really dialed up the quality. I'm curious how you've gotten from point A to point B here.
Well, lots of trial and error. And for many years, I did soil. I was a soil grower for many years. And I was pretty primitive as I was just working mostly masonry work. And this was a side thing. So I was pretty primitive. And then as I realized that this was taking on a life of its own, so to speak, that I needed to up my game. So I also needed to up my game in a couple of ways for cleanliness and several different reasons. One, I felt like I wanted to move to deep water culture. So that is when I switched from being a soil grower to a deep water culture grower, which is a hydroponic.
Yeah, okay.
Yep, that's a hydroponic method. And I then it took trial and error through that, but I was able to dial it in and learn more. I got to be doing less masonry work, and I was focusing more of my time into cannabis. So that enabled me to learn a lot more, just because I'm slowly switching over careers. So yeah, and so that's how that goes. It's just through a lot of trial and error and making a lot of mistakes, and, you know, having some victories that go along with them, and trying to learn from your mistakes, taking a lot of notes. That's another big one. I mean, daily, hourly notes, if you need to. Every little input or output that you do, you got to make a note of it so you can know how it affects things. So yeah, I guess it's just a lot of trial and error.
Yeah, and I noticed you have a lot of monitoring equipment to monitor your flow rates and your total dissolved solids or whatever I was looking at and stuff like that.
All those different things are very important. And for me now, having switched from soil to hydroponic and gotten a good taste of it, I don't know how I could survive not knowing exactly what my plants have available and what pHs they have it available at any moment. You know, when you have that information available to you 24 hours a day on your phone, you can't be without it. I couldn't be without it.
Yeah. You seem very meticulous, and boy, it seems like you're just up at the crack of dawn down there, you know,
every day.
What's your average work day like, man?
Well, right now with masonry, it's getting down to the girls at around 6:30 and getting out of the house at around 8:30, and then on the job site around 9 to 3, working a 6-hour day, no lunch, and then eating some lunch and coming back and working with the girls until probably around 9 or 10, because the masonry takes up so much more time. But I'll tell you, on top of it all, the social media stuff.
Oh God,
social media stuff. Oh my God.
That was already 15 hours. That was already 15 hours a day with everything else. And now you throw in the social media.
Yeah, the social media, I'm on my phone 4 hours a day doing that stuff. And I don't have much, I
Wow,
don't
so that's
scroll. I don't just go looking unless I'm looking to learn something. My social media is responding, coming up with social media content and just responding to folks and liking the right stuff. And it's just, it's horrible. It's horrible, but I do enjoy it.
I just
But
did all that
there's
math, and that
something,
was, well, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, I don't know, man. I just squeeze in my social media throughout the day when I'm in the basement, when I'm in the garage. I got to throw in my time there, but then I have to sit down when I'm eating my dinner and you got your phone going. It's just nonstop while you're lying in bed before going to bed, just all that stuff. My work days realistically aren't 20 hours like the numbers that I just presented would indicate, but my work days are at least 14 hours a day, every single day, 7 days a week.
Damn.
If you take into account that stuff like we're doing right now is also part of a work day.
Sure. I count this.
I count this as work because I could be playing.
Right. Yeah.
So
for sure. Neither of us is getting paid, It's like,
right.
Sometimes I wonder, I'm like, why am I doing this? Is a big time commitment, but boy, it's just been great so far, man.
I'm glad you're
let me
enjoying
ask,
it, and I'm glad you're doing it.
yeah, and I'm really happy with the response I'm getting from everybody. That's been very encouraging. It's tricky sitting down with guys like Nick Matei, who's been growing for 20 years and's done consulting work with all kinds of people. And, I got 4 months and now I got to sit down with a dude who's been doing this for 2 decades, but it's going well. So that gives me some
man,
confidence.
good for you. Just be confident. Yeah, just be confident like that. And I'll tell you, if there's anybody that you could interview, that would be you couldn't find a better person to interview as far as personality and knowledge than Nick, as far as I'm concerned, either. Because he's just, I've watched it.
Have you? Okay, cool. Yeah.
I watched it. It's wonderful. He's wonderful, and he's really super knowledgeable. One of the smartest guys I know, actually. One of the smartest guys I know.
Now, didn't you tell me that he actually helped you upgrade your setup?
He's helped me upgrade my setup, and he's also provided me with information, and just knowledge that he's been generous with me with sharing, and I really appreciate it. He's really a wonderful person like that. He's got all this knowledge from all this experience and all this smarts that he's got, and he's very generous with sharing it. And I've been a fortunate recipient of that.
And can you give us any specifics? Did he help you with your heating or your air conditioning? Or I know.
Well, I can tell you, he helped me with my air conditioning. That is the big thing, and I'm really thankful for his really good quality work and his really good quality guidance in not trying to sell me something that I don't need, but not underselling me either, so that what I have had installed by him has been fit the bill for the room, for the space. Everything has done what it's needed to do without me saying, I should have installed another one, or I didn't need all this.
So he really custom tailored it to what you needed.
That's correct. With the lighting, with the wattage, with everything that he knew his space was containing, he sized everything very adequately.
Wow. Sorry, I didn't mean to make this a foreman's interview, but I was super curious about that. And I know he's from the neck too. So, I like the neck people.
He's a buddy of mine, and I'm just very thankful for him.
Yeah, it seems I see people approaching him at events. Just everybody's trying to pick his ear about this or that or the other thing, And sometimes I just stand around listening. It's great conversation,
and you can learn.
Oh my God, I've learned. I listened to him and Derek Granide talk for about an hour and a half, and it was amazing. Like that's more than I learned in a month of reading.
Sure.
Yeah. So let's see, what else do we got here? I'm gonna have to chop this in about 2 or 3 minutes, but let me ask you this: are there any other growers up there in the Danville area besides you?
There is one other fellow that I know of. He's an outdoor grower, but he has a nice product, and he's a real conscientious, really good fellow, real conscientious grower. So as far as that's concerned, I really only know of one other grower that's in the Danville area, but I also am a recluse. Apart from my events and my social media, I pretty much go to the job site and then I come home. I'm pretty reclusive, and I don't get out and socialize and find out a lot about what's going on.
And in our last interview, I quoted you as saying, I just stay in my basement and grow cannabis.
Yep, that's what I enjoy doing. And I actually don't harvest or trim anything. I have that. I just do all the growing, cloning, maintaining, and then I turn it over. When it's harvest time, I turn it over to my team. They come down, they harvest, they hang, they clean my systems. We bleach and disinfect everything, and they do all of that stuff while I continue my journey. And then I come back and boom, I plant my system again, and then start growing that system again while I'm maintaining others. But yeah, it's a wonderful, what works really well. I've got a super duper team.
Yeah, and I mean, I assume if Dan drives all the way from East Burke to come out to your house to work for you, you're probably all right, because he doesn't. He also is kind of a recluse, you know.
He is too. Yep. You know something? I've actually just got an email I should send, or a text message I should send you from one of my workers that is out on COVID that is really frustrated because she wants to come back to work, but the doc won't let her. But anyhow, because I got the most wonderful text about how thankful she is to know that she's still got her job, you know, which of course she's going to have her job. I mean, but how thankful and appreciative she is of all that that she's got going with Tall Truck. And it's just was a really good feeling.
That must be nice to hear. Listen, I'm going to chop it right here before we get cut off. And if you want, you could send me that text. It's going to take a couple minutes to render this down, and we'll come back for another section here.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay. Sounds good.
Fantastic. Thanks, Devon.